Hi, this is Suzanne Williams with Essential Oils, Health Matters, and Living the Wholesome Life. So we are on week 13, day 1 of working through of positive affirmations that we're doing every day, Monday through Friday, and we are working through Dr. Susan Lawton's Positive Peaceful Growth Calendar that you can get at Aroma Tools or Oil Life. And so the affirmation for this week is I am gentle with myself and others. Now, if you've been following us, you know that there's always a song that we pair with affirmation. And this song that Dr. Susan Lawton chose was I am gentle on my mind. Okay, let me repeat that again. So the song that she chose is Gentle on My Mind by Glenn Campbell. So I wasn't familiar with the song, and I went on and I listened to it, and it just didn't really resonate with my heart. So this song that resonated with me for being gentle with yourself and with others is the song is called Gentle, and it's by Michael Mclean, and I will definitely be posting it in the comments. But it just talks about how we've all that just like a gentle rain can bring a peace and a stillness to your heart, or how a gentle wind can lift your spirits. How gentle things, how matter, little things matter, and how being gentle, that we've all been hurt before, and so being gentle with ourselves and others is a really good idea. Now, someone once said that if you treat everyone like they're going through one of the hardest experiences of their life, you will be right more often than you will be wrong. And it's because life, though it's wonderful and good in so many ways, can be super challenging. And so all of us are usually going through something that we're a little concerned about. And so we do hope that others will be gentle with us. And we strive to be gentle with others. And we strive to be gentle with ourselves. And that's kind of our focus for this week. So really quick, I had mentioned that this is the 13th week. I'm so proud of myself for continuing to do these affirmations. And I can't tell you what a difference it's making in my life to teach about wonderful things. Okay, so week 13. Now, just a little tidbit, historical tidbit. Some people think that 13 is an unlucky number, right? Like it's paired with a lot of bad things in society. But it's actually, like, historically, it was one of the very, very best numbers and the most sacred of numbers because it represented Christ and his 12 disciples. I didn't know about that until I ran across it, and then I'm like, oh, gracious. And it totally changed the way I felt about the number 13. So I think this week is just going to be an amazing week. And as we talk about being gentle with ourselves. So when I think of gentleness, one of the things that I think of generally is being kind. And I just wanted to tell you about this study about being kind that I had heard about. So the study was to see if people who had kindness shown to them went on to be kind. And so what they did is they put basically a quarter in a telephone booth. And I know no one, you might not even know what a telephone booth was, but before cell phones, they used to have, public telephones. They used to have to put a quarter or however much money in and then make your call. And then sometimes you put a lot of quarters in if you knew you were going to make a long distance call, and then sometimes you would walk away without getting your change. You just, don't need it, or forgot it. And anyway, so sometimes you would find like a quarter in the phone machine. Well, so here was the study. What they did is they had a certain amount of people that they were testing, and they would check for those that that had a quarter in the machine, because a lot of times before you even made a call, you would just check the machine to see if there was a quarter there left over, and sometimes there was, and sometimes there wasn't. So, so the people, they left a quarter in the machine, and people who found the quarter, and then the person made the call, and then they had an actress walk by and trip and drop like her folder or something, and to see, will this person who just found a quarter or this person who didn't find anything in the machine, who's going to be more willing to help the person who tripped? Well, I'm sure you can guess who was most willing to help the person who tripped. But anyway, so I'll tell you the results. But you might not know. You might not be able to guess how significant the results are. I was surprised. I was impressed by the results. And so basically, the people who did not find any money in the phone booth to make a phone call, when the actress walked by and she tripped and she dropped her folder, only 5% of those people helped her. Okay, and the people who found, which I thought was an extremely low amount of percent, but the people who found the quarter in the phone machine, basically over 90% of people helped the actress when she walked by and she tripped and she dropped her folder. 90% of people then helped the person out, because and what the study went on to say was that even if the thing that's being kind to you is a machine, like even if the thing that is brightening your day is a machine, you are much more likely to go be kind to others. So kindness matters. Being gentle matters. If you are more gentle with yourself, you have more in you, more happiness in you to go and be gentle with others. So being gentle with yourself is not a selfish thing. It's an amazing thing that helps you brighten the world. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, so that's the affirmation for this week, as being gentle with myself and with others. And the song that I'm pairing with is Michael Mclean's Gentle. So the affirmation for today is, I allow myself room to learn from my mistakes. Are you noticing that so much of this change starts with us? Like the change that we want to see in the world starts with us. So I wanted us to think about mistakes really quick, and I wanted to start the conversation off. I had this poem at my computer. Actually, it's not a poem. It's a part of President Roosevelt's speech. Now, if you guys don't know, President Roosevelt was one of the presidents during World War II. And, okay, here it is. This is what he said. Now, when it talks about being hard on ourselves or others for mistakes, I was thinking about President Gordon B. Hinckley. Now, he was a prophet in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And when he was a boy, he was a little bit critical of others until his dad pulled him aside, and he said something to Gordon B. Hinckley about how critics don't matter. What matters is the person who's in there striving to do something. Okay, and it totally, and I know I kind of should have looked up the quote, or could have looked up the quote and said that a little bit better, but it basically changed Gordon B. Hinckley's life as a little boy, and he came to realize, you know what? Who am I to criticize someone that's trying? Who am I to criticize someone who's out there trying to do something, putting their effort in, right? When I'm not. So, it reminded, and there, I know there's a poem about that too. I wasn't able to find the poem, but Caleb, can you give you some water, please? But I was able to find this talk by President Roosevelt, and this is what it says. It is not the critic that counts. Oh, gracious, thank you. You're fast. Okay, it says, it is not the critic that counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred with dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, but because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms and great devotions, who spends himself on a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. So he's basically saying, stop criticizing the person who's trying to do something, right? Stop criticizing people who are putting their heart and soul into doing something. Are they going to be perfect? No, they're not going to be perfect. There was only one perfect man or woman who lived on this earth, and it was a man. It was Jesus Christ, right? And we are all going to fall short of that. And we don't need to beat ourselves up from that. And we don't need to beat others up when they fail at something. Okay? So I just wanted to share that really quick. So allowing ourselves to make room from our mistakes. So as I'm thinking about making mistakes, I'm reminded of this story that I heard about a dad, an incredible dad, who at the dinner table every day with his children would say, okay, so how did you fail today? What were your mistakes? What was one of the mistakes you made? How did you fail? And they were all his children were supposed to come up with something that they tried to do where it didn't go well, where they had a mistake. And the reason why he did that is because he knew that if they weren't failing at things, if they weren't making mistakes, they weren't trying, right? And it got us over, like some people have major shame when they make mistakes, right? And it got them over the shame of making mistakes that can sometimes be put on us by ourselves or by others or by society, right? And it got them into the mindset of, I tried, right? I tried to do something, and yeah, it didn't go exactly as I wanted it to do or go, but I tried. And to celebrate the try, to celebrate the effort. Okay, so I'm reminded of another study, and I know I've told this before because it's one of my favorite studies, but the study basically says, it studied two groups of children, and one of the children were told, oh, you're so smart. And the other group of children were praised for their effort. You put so much effort into that. And then they gave them some math tests and asked them kind of what classes they wanted to take. And basically, the people who were told that they were smart didn't want to take hard classes because they knew that if they took hard classes, they might fail. And if they failed and if they didn't get a good grade in that class, then they wouldn't think of themselves as smart anymore. So they dumbed down the classes that they took so they could be the smart ones. Now, the people who were praised for their, oh my goodness, you put so much hard work into that, right? They actually went on to take the harder classes because they were praised for their effort and they wanted to give good effort. And so, praising the effort, praising the try with ourselves, even if what we do doesn't go well, praising the try with ourselves is important. Okay, there's a quote, there's a saying, and it says basically, I'm going to fail my ways to success. I'm going to fail my ways to success. Along the road, I am not going to do everything right. But I'm not going to let my mistakes or my failures stop me. Right? That fail is just something that happened. That failure doesn't mean that I am a failure. Your failures don't mean you're a failure. I remember I was listening to a talk by, I think it was Henry B. Eyring, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe someone will look it up. But it was talking about parents and how, sometimes when our children do things that we don't think are wise or good or will be on the path to happiness, we can feel really bad about ourselves. As parents, we can feel like we're failures as parents. And President Eyring basically went on to say, you're not a failure as a parent until you stop loving. So don't stop loving. Don't stop hoping. Don't stop believing in your children. Right? Anyway. Okay. So, sometimes when we're trying to do something that's big or huge or scary, right? We can be afraid of failing. Now, I have a little boy. His name is Xander, and he is 4 years old. And okay, so just a really quick aside. Xander actually has he's our youngest of 9 children, and he actually has one nephew and one niece that's older than him, and he has one niece that's the same age as him. Oh my goodness, they love it when they get together. Anyway, so we have quite a span of children, okay? Anyway, so Xander loves to watch Daniel Tiger. Okay, Xander didn't like to watch Daniel Tiger, but I love Mr. Rogers. And Daniel Tiger is the kids show on today that incorporates so many of the things that Mr. Fred Rogers tried to do in his lifetime. And yesterday he was listening to Daniel Tiger, and they were playing a song over and over again in this little 20-minute kids show. And it was, if something is hard to do, just do it a little bit at a time. And and then they told a story, and the story was about a boy with his dad who were gonna go, and they were gonna go sledding down this like huge hill, and the son was like, oh my goodness, I'm afraid of that. I don't even want to do that. And the dad was like, okay, well then, does it look hard to do? And the son's like, yeah, it looks really hard and scary to do. And the dad's like, well, let's just do it a little bit at a time. And the son said, well, how do I do it a little bit at a time? And he said, well, the dad said, okay, well, let's walk down the hill until we get to a certain part of the hill, way farther down the hill, until you think, you know what, I can do this one. I can do this. And then let's see how that goes for us. So that's what they did. They walked down. The son was like, okay, I can do this part. And so that's what they did. They went down. The son had a lot of fun. And so then they worked their way up the mountain. So they were still within their comfort level of doing something that was big and scary at first, but then became fun. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about me being gentle with myself. So I used to have a fear of driving on the freeway or the highway, the interstate, whatever you like to call it. And okay, at first when I was a young driver, I didn't have this fear, but then like in my 40s, I think it was, or late 30s, I'm not even sure. Anyway, I developed this fear of driving on the freeway. And so for the longest time I didn't. Well, then I thought to myself, I want to be able to drive on the freeway. Like, I gave myself a break for a long enough time to just be happy with where I was and be content. But then I was ready. Then I was ready to hop back onto the freeway. And so I did it kind of like this dad and son did in little tiny segments. And so basically what I would do is I would get on the freeway and I would just like drive for one exit and then get off. And I would get on the freeway when into those lanes where you didn't even have to merge before, because the lane that you got on just went the whole entire way to the next exit. So you could kind of be driving the freeway, but you never really had to merge into traffic. Anyway, and I would do that over and over and over again. At first, it was terrifying. Like, I want to cry on how terrifying it was for me. We all have things that we're terrified in life to do. But a little at a time, we can conquer our fears. So anyway, so then I did that enough times, and then slowly I would go like 2 exits down and then get off and do that over and over again. And then I would do it anyway, more and more. So now I still haven't completely conquered my fear of driving on the freeway, but I can drive all the way down to like hours away, and I can feel fine about it. Sometimes when there's construction, the traffic is really narrow, or heavy traffic times. Actually, I really love the heavy traffic times because then everyone's slowing down, and I really like that better. So I don't mind the traffic. But just saying, if there's something that you're afraid to do, like, be gentle with yourself. Don't force yourself to do something. Find a way to do it in segments. Do it in smaller pieces. Be gentle with yourself. But you can do hard things. Okay, so that's a story I wanted to tell you. Okay, so when it talks about being gentle, one of the last things I wanted to say about that is I want you to think about how rain is so gentle, yet it can carve Grand Canyons, right? A little bit at a time. So if you're trying to solve a problem or achieve a goal, you know, be like the falling rain. Just work on it a little bit at a time, a little bit at each day, and I think you're going to get there. You work at something a little bit each day, you're going to change the world. You're going to change yourself. You're going to change your environment. You're going to change the world. You are. Okay, so we talked about the affirmation for this week and the affirmation for today, and we talked about the song that we're pairing with it, Being Gentle with Ourselves, Be Gentle by Michael Mclean. And so, really quick, I wanted to tell you about the oils that are for this week, because we always have a diffuser blend for this week. And so the diffuser blend for each week, we always have a diffuser blend for each week. Anyway, the diffuser blend for this week is 2 drops of wild orange, which is the oil of abundance, and wild orange is one of the most antidepressive oils. It's wintertime. Do you guys suffer from, like, what's it called? If there's not enough light, like, some people start to get really, really depressed. Wild orange can help with that. And bergamot, but wild orange can really, really help with that. So wild orange is a citrus oil, and any citrus oil is going to be a mood uplifting oil. So wild orange is going to be in this blend to uplift our mood, okay? Then we are diffusing 2 drops of Cypress. Let me just tell you a tiny, tiny bit about Cypress, because we're going to be going into the other properties of these oils later, but just a little tidbit about Cypress. Cypress is a tree oil, and all tree oils are super grounding, okay? So the nickname of Cypress is the oil of motion and flow, which means it gets things moving. If you are trying to change something in your life, or if you've just moved to a new house, a new community, started a new job, Cypress can be a very, very good oil to diffuse because it gets energies moving in a very good way. Okay, so that's Cypress. Again, it's a tree oil, so it's going to be super grounding. It's gonna help you deal with the change, or want to change, and have the energy to change. Now, the last oil. So the last oil that we're going to be doing in this week's diffuser is Basil. Now, Basil's nickname is the Oil of Renewal. Okay, so it's Christmas time. We're going into holiday season. We're all trying to do so much to make this this season so perfect for ourselves and other people. And maybe you're in charge of just a few things. Maybe you're in charge of a huge events or huge things going on. At this time of year, even though it's an amazingly spiritual time of year, we can get depleted. So this is why Basil is in the diffuser blend this week, as we're trying to be gentle with ourselves, as we're trying to be gentle with others. If we're depleted, it's hard to be gentle. Basil, the oil of renewal, can help us be renewed, help us get that confidence back, help us rest when we need to rest, right? Give us the energy that we need to go on. And it's in this diffuser blend for a reason. So again, the really quick recap of everything that I've kind of said. So the diffuser blend that we're diffusing this week is wild orange, the oil of abundance and super uplifting. Cypress, the oil of motion and flow. Basil, the oil of renewal. This is going to be an amazing blend. 2 drops of each of those in a diffuser. You can buy diffusers at doTERRA.com. They have amazing ones that can run for hours. You're going to love them. Okay, so my the affirmation for today is I allow myself room to make mistakes. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate your try. And the affirmation for this week is I can be gentle with myself and others. And the song that we're preparing it for this week is Michael Mclean's Gentle. Okay, so this is next. Okay, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to go into the emotional properties of each of those 4 oils that we're diffusing, and 3 oils that we're diffusing. I love Caleb. He's like my check. 3 oils that we're diffusing. And Friday, we're going to be going into the physical properties, because essential oils can help you both emotionally and physically. Like, oh my goodness, they're amazing. Anyway, and then we're going to be doing a different affirmation, positive affirmation every day. You're going to want to tune in, because starting your day with a positive affirmation, it's amazing. Okay, this is Suzanne Williams with Essential Oils, Health Matters, Living the Wholesome Life, saying I know that you have it in you to be gentle with yourself and others, and I know that you have it in you to make it a great day. Bye-bye.